With the latest update to Need for Speed, they introduced a mode called Lockdown, and the cash you can earn in that mode is actually unbelievable compared to everything else you can do. So, let's go. If you're looking for a variety of good ways to make money in Need for Speed Unbound, you can check out this video. It'll be linked in the description down below. It talks about a few different methods for efficiently earning cash, but not one of them can get you what this method actually does. Also, the game has quite a few bugs as of making this video, so I decided to only look at the legitimate ways of making money so that this video is relevant for months to come. All right, let's get into it. This method is simple, but it takes a little bit of setup. I earned over $1 million in one session of Lockup, and to be honest, it wasn't a very clean run. So here we go. Step 1, get your extraction streak to 4 so that you can bring in an S+ vehicle and make sure you extract with a bike on one of those 4 extractions. This is super key to the entire method. Step 2, select the bike as your starting vehicle. This is only possible if that extraction streak is 4, like I said, and you extracted a bike within the last 24 hours of playing. Step 3, once you enter Lockdown, immediately start looking for cash near the city. The money spawns are much more dense there, and it's much more frequent to see the money in the main city, so start by heading there and picking up any cash you see along the way. Step 4, once the zone starts to come in, you need to go there and collect cash there instead. In addition to that, once a lockup is announced by Racer X, you should head directly to that lockup and grab all the cash. Step 5 is to rinse and repeat step 4. Basically, when you pick up money in the zone, you're picking up 12 to 15,000 bucks every single time instead of the regular 5 to 6,000 that is outside the zone. And because you're on a bike, the zone is doing 0 damage to you, making it easier to stay alive and evade cops while picking up the cash. Also, because you're already on the bike, you can get to the lockups faster than other players most of the time to snag that cash in there as well. Now, to maximize your gains, you should be doing a couple of things while searching for cash. Number 1, you should be evading the Heat 5 cops when possible. Basically, if you have the option to not drive directly towards a cop when you're escaping, then don't do it. But picking up cash from the ground is more of a priority. So if there happens to be a cop on your way to another pile of cash, then don't worry about it, just go get the cash. Evading a Heat 5 chase will get you another 5,000 bank, and it's really nice to just get that extra 5,000 that you don't really count, and you don't really realize what you're doing. It just happens sort of naturally, but keep an eye out for it. If you can avoid the cops, avoid them. Number 2, you should be grabbing cash from the lockups. This one is actually similar to the cops one. Don't go out of your way to go get that cash from a lockup that's like clear across the map. If it's in the same general area or the same half of the map that you're in, it's definitely worth it because there's usually around 30,000 to 45,000 in those lockups. That's the equivalent of picking up 3 piles of cash that's inside the zone. Now, the only exception is if it's fairly late in the game and the majority of the map is consumed by the zone. The reason this is an exception is because you can go ahead and make that trip and just make sure you're picking up all of the cash you see along the way. So not only are you picking up piles of cash anyways, but you're also heading to a lockup where you'll find, a much bigger stash of cash. Number 3, racing is not consistently lucrative. Can you get a decent amount of money racing in Lockdown? Yes, but it's hit and miss. You need to win the race in order to maximize your cash, and you need to pick up the highest amounts of money during the race, all the while battling other players, even though not too many people race. It can still be annoying, and in the amount of time that you're racing, you can actually grab a lot of cash piles around the city. The very first race that pops up is okay to take because it usually happens when the zone is really small or just non-existent. It makes way more sense to do that race than to look for cash that's not rewarding you enough. Number 4, another thing you should be doing is paying attention to the upcoming speed traps, hot laps, and speed zones. The speed traps are an easy 24k if you're on a bike. The hot laps and the speed zones pay the same if you get the 3 stars and beat the rival. But to be honest with you, the hot laps are definitely not worth it. They're a lot harder to beat the rivals than it is on the speed traps and speed zones. Those are both fairly easy. So don't go out of your way for the hot laps, but the speed traps and the speed zones are worth it if they're on your way to something. Don't go out of your way again to go get those things. They're just spread apart way too far on the map. So like I said, if you're going by it, do it. If not, don't worry about it. Lastly, if you see a high value car in a lockup, you should definitely extract with it. The cars inside the lockups are cars that you can keep and sell So for example, if you see a Bugatti or a LaFerrari, you should definitely be extracting with one of those if money is your end goal. Now, obviously, if you don't own the Bugatti, it's 3.6 million to buy it in the store. So if you have a chance to get it for free, then you probably should save it, but that's totally up to you and everybody's gonna have a different circumstance there. All right, that's basically it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to send me a DM. I answer every single message that comes my way, either on Instagram or Discord. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helps. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.